I've had a really difficult relationship with my mom for most of my life. This is a really hard one to make, mostly because looking back and really admitting and addressing how I felt all those years is not the way I feel anymore. When I had finally had enough in my depression and got serious about getting out of fight or flight and actually not being stuck on my bed every day, I reached out to the therapist I had in 2012 when I had my first breakdown. I told her that I'm tired of living like this and I want to feel better. I needed help. She told me that it had been really good to work with me before and she would happily take me back on. It is really important to surround yourself with medical and mental health professionals that you trust. We began the work in 2012 before I was fully ready to let go. My mom had come into work with another story about her ex-husband. If there was ever a proverbial snap when someone breaks, that was the moment for me. When she left, I didn't look right. My manager sent me home. By the time I got home, something had changed. I couldn't talk, and looking at my kids terrified me. The not talking really didn't faze me. I was sort of numb and empty. But when I realized that I couldn't look at the kids, that was what really terrified me. I knew something was wrong and I wanted to go to the ER. But my husband put the kids to bed and held my face in his hands and brought me back to reality. We agreed that I'd call the primary in the morning. Somehow I got to sleep that night and I got to the doctor the next day. They told me that had I gone to the ER in the state that I was in the night before, they would have put a hold on me. I was even more grateful to my husband in that moment. She started me on medications and referred me to a partial outpatient hospital program because I did have a 3-year-old at home that needed me. I called my manager when I got home and I explained the situation. He understood and gave me the time off for the program. That program is where I started doing art therapy. I taught myself Photoshop by doing this. I would have an image in my mind and I would pull all of the pieces together from different image searches and then composite them to make the image I wanted. I did a lot of this through the program and then again through therapy with my therapist. One of the pieces I did involved making a physical copy of the mask I had worn for, at that time, 20 years. I had created a digital version, but I wanted one that I could hold in my hands. And so I made it out of plaster. After being in therapy for a while, I thought that I had healed enough. At this point, I was no contact with my mother and had been for a while. I decided to take my mask to the beach and burn it. It was what I thought was my final act of brokenness, but it would not burn. We tried so many times and finally gave up. I accepted defeat and decided to try again at another time. This is the part that I'm not proud of, but I give myself grace because I was not the person I am now, and that is what I thought I needed to do at the time to heal. Mother's Day has always been difficult for me. I would spend a lot of time in the card aisle and never find a card I was completely comfortable with. It became really hard for me every single year. When my mom moved 420 miles away, I used the distance as a reason not to send things. The time and cost was too much. But in 2013, I sent a single package to my mom for Mother's Day. Inside was a book of my art therapy pieces that I had done related to her. On the cover was the digital image of the mask with the phrase, "Want to know how I got these scars?" It was referencing the Joker from The Dark Knight. The opening page was a quote that my mom had said to me that was something to the effect of, "You are the most angry, hate-filled, bitter person I have ever known." The adjacent page was an image of me when I was 3 that I found in my baby book when I was looking for a picture I looked sad in. I turned it black and white and had me sitting in the dark, and it's raining. Next to me, in a bubble, is my mother in full color, looking towards the sunshine. It said, "You lived your life cocooned in denial, while I suffered in fear and sadness." It went on from there. The ending page was a direct letter to my mom, telling her that I do not want a response, and I will not accept one. After I sent that package, the mask burned. I kept pieces of it for years. I have no idea where they are now, and that's okay. It was the first step in healing, not the last. I never did get a response from my mom. I never even got confirmation she got it. I didn't put tracking on it. I didn't need to. I had said what I needed to say, and I was letting it go. And whatever happened on the other end was none of my business. Ron and I tried to burn the mask again sometime after I had sent the book. It burned. I wasn't surprised. I had not been ready the first time. Now that I had fully let go, the mask could go too. But that wasn't the end of the mask and I. I had done a lot of work during that time that I was in therapy, but I wasn't fully healed. I thought I was, but those scars ran very deep, and they had not released their grip on me. But I thought it was enough, so I stopped therapy and went on with my life. What I didn't fully grasp was that just saying what I needed to say to my mom was not enough. It got out a lot of what I needed to say at the time, but it didn't address the whole picture, what those 20 years had shaped me into. I stayed no contact with my mom for a long time, until my brother left. My sister was not speaking to my mother either at that point, and he begged me to break the no contact, and so I did. That day I called my mom and reconnected with her. I never found out my mom's reaction to the book I sent her for Mother's Day. At the time, I meant it when I said I didn't want a response from her, and I wouldn't accept one. My mom had this way of rewriting the past, that every time she heard something that happened, she would say, "I don't remember that." It was a common phrase when things would come up. It was infuriating. It was invalidating. It was dehumanizing. The worst thing in my life was just another day for her. She wasn't necessarily wrong when she told me that I was the most angry, hate-filled, bitter person. It was just directed at her. I don't remember most of my childhood. I have a few memories of before the divorce. One of my cat having kittens, another of my grandfather, who died when I was 4 and the day he died. A few learning how to ride a bike, and then playing in the cemetery with my dad and his friends on our bikes. And one of my dad almost launching me clean off a moped by hitting a cement slab too fast. I went flying off the seat and landed on the newspaper rack on the back. But that is about it from before they got divorced. I was 8 when that happened. I have a few from between the divorce and my dad being out of the picture, but that's about it. Then, when I was 11, everything changed. Someone well known to us began abusing me. It was confusing and terrifying, and I didn't know what to do. After some time, I tried to carefully say something without saying anything. It did not work. When questioned, they had a mundane explanation, and things continued after maybe a short period of it stopping. Over time, things escalated, and I had an experience that I could not mask. Everything came spilling out of me, every experience, every fear, what had just happened. My mother immediately confronted the person. They had an excuse for some instances and flat out lied about others. They manipulated the situation to where nothing either could be done or was done. A fearful child against an adult who had a lifetime of learning how to manipulate and twist things, who knew how to talk in circles. I didn't stand a chance. My mother believed them and life went on. It did settle down though after that. The person was still in our lives though. After 2 years, I thought it was really over. It wasn't, and when it came back, it was so much worse. After being lulled into a false sense of security, the second round was by far the worst thing I have gone through. I kept quiet. I didn't say anything. I had one person that was my safe place, and I lived in constant fear and looking over my shoulder. At this point, I was a teenager. I wasn't 11, but I felt even more cornered by this person. My mom chose to believe the lies. She chose to accept their explanations and not question further. This person, after all, was someone that she looked to. And so in my mind, she chose them and all the things they promised over me. Some people might expect the abuser to be the villain in my story, but to me, it was always my mom. She should have protected me, and she didn't. And I carried that resentment for 3 decades. My mom and I had an okay relationship between when I reestablished contact and 2025. It was really surface level though. I called her while I was driving and kept her updated with Facebook posts and photos. She would visit and stay with my grandparents, but I didn't go out of my way to see her. I worked 3 jobs and had kids with sports, and I had a chaotic schedule. In 2021, I became disabled. My son was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma, and my daughter had 2 mental health crises. In 2022 and 2025, my husband blew out his knee and then the other. I lost both of my grandparents and held their hands as they passed in 2023 and 2024. By 2025, I was no longer able to work any of my 3 jobs, and I lived in my bed. That was when I decided enough was enough. I want my life back. After a while in therapy, I realized I did not want my life back. I did not want to live like that again. It was completely unhealthy. I disregarded myself for everyone else's needs. I ran myself into the ground, and now I was paying the price. It was time to break autopilot. I got serious about healing. Then my mother said, I have all of these things, but I don't have my family. And boom, instantly, all the resentment and bitterness and brokenness I felt exploded from my heart. Things were not more important to her. We were. That healed a part of me that I never thought could be healed. A part that I thought I would be carrying around forever, living as in good enough condition, but not fully healed. My chest felt empty. It was hollow and full of space, and without a doubt, that space meant possibility. It meant healing was possible. I have had a hard time coming to accept my chronic pain and disability. I always looked at it like it was robbing me. Now I see that it has taken a lot from me, but it has also given me the time and space needed to do the intense healing work. I cleared away everything in my life, boiled it down to me, my family, and Diana. I went to doctor appointments and therapy, and once a week had a play date with Diana and the kids. Now I've brought back in Karen to the fold as well. And I am happier than I have ever been in my life. I see my mom not as the villain in my story, but as a victim too. She was manipulated and lied to, and as a mom myself now, I cannot imagine one of my kids coming to me and telling me that someone hurt them. How scared she must have been, and who knows what kinds of threats were sent her way to make her put it in a box and continue on. That didn't make my mom a monster. That made my mom human. Rewriting the past is a coping skill and a self-preservation mechanism. My mom has stage 4 breast cancer, and it is progressing. I am grateful for the healing because I don't know how I would process all of it if I hadn't. My first reaction was to run to her when I found out. It was so confusing when you emotionally jump across the chasm from standing on the side of bitterness to the side of I want to be there and take care of my mom and make sure she's not scared and she's okay. I see my mom in a completely different light. I often wonder what she went through and what she was thinking and feeling during those years. While I was thinking she cared all about status, what was she dealing with? What abuse did she receive when trying to stand up for me? I will never know, and that is okay. She doesn't remember, and she told me I don't want to know everything that happened. I'm not aware if she was aware she said that, but it is a very honest statement. I understand it and I agree. Those experiences do not impact me anymore. So I sit here 1 year past reaching out to my therapist with a newfound appreciation for my mom and a second chance at building positive memories with her. We're excited for the move and being able to have more contact. Instead of dying in my bed, I can go slump on her couch, and there won't be so much time in between that we are able to talk. This past Mother's Day, instead of dreading the day, I was talking with my mom, and we were talking about how there's only 1 or 2 more Mother's Day at most until we're finally able to celebrate together again. I love my mom, and I am so thankful for this second chance.